When last have you attended a fun day? I remember very fond memories. As a child growing up, you would want to go to a lot of these sporting activities. You go to sports day, you go to bazaars and so forth. And I just felt over the years that we've seen a lot of these activities diminishing, especially at the community level. And those were good ways of fostering community engagement, an opportunity to network, and just to have some clean fun. Well, you have an opportunity to attend a fun day, and it's for a good cause. The Lara family is presenting its High Five Fun Day, which is a fundraising event. And to tell us a bit more about this fundraising event, we have Anna Howe. She is a medical student, and she's much of the focus of this activity because the funds raised from this would go toward supporting and assisting her. And we have Anna joining us via Zoom this morning. Anna, good morning and welcome to AM Prime.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Excellent. And this activity, as I was mentioning before, these kinds of community level engagements and activities, we don't really see them happening as much. And one wonders, okay, an activity like this, how can we raise funds and how can it be a model really to get support at a community level? We know that we talk about when you have to raise funds, you have to have cake sales and barbecues and endless curry queues. But this is taking the form of a fun day. Could you tell me a bit about the genesis of this and what are some of the things that you all are expecting to accomplish coming out of this fundraising activity?
So initially, barbecues and curry queues were the main goal because that's what everyone thinks about. And one day it just came to me like, let's try a fun day and see how best we can generate revenue. Yes, we want to generate revenue, but yet still we want to give back to the community. As you say, we see these things depleting. COVID would have affected us really badly when it comes to sports and coming out and interacting with persons and so forth. So I would have thought of this and I thought about okay, High Five Fun Day. Let's have a $5 fun day event. $5 is very minimal, but yet still, it's a comfortable range where persons could come out with the entire family and still have fun without feeling overburdened by the expenses.
Understood. And what exactly are the funds expected to take care of?
So it definitely goes towards tuition where I am concerned. I would have practically started medical school last year and I would have lost my sponsorship in the middle of the semester. It was devastating. It was not a good feeling, but I know I had to overcome this feeling and get myself back out there and do what is necessary to help me. And my family would have talked about it. They came on board and hence the reason, it's coming alive.
Gotcha. And just a bit of background to yourself. Where did your interest in the field of medicine come from and when exactly did you begin your program?
So going to high school, typical Grey's Anatomy is what piqued my interest into medicine. Yeah. With my friends and so forth, we started looking at the TV series and it's just from there, just sparked something. And when I was younger as well too, I used to visit the San Fernando General Hospital with my aunt. We used to visit the pediatric department with the kids. And honestly, that as well too would have really made me commit to medicine, seeing kids there. I mean, the attention and care was so lacking, God knows. And it really, really sparked something in me. And I'm like, okay, I have to, and I want to be someone different. I know we hear this very often, but I really want to have that time to really, just talk to patients because, yes, I know care is about medicine, but sometimes just talking to them helps as well, too.
Yeah. And when did you start your program?
So I would have did my bachelor's in biomedical in 2014 at the University of the Southern Caribbean. And last year, which is 2022, I would have started the American University of Antigua School of Medicine.
So therefore, it would be that you are having to go to classes in Antigua itself?
Yes, I have been in Antigua.
Right, and as you said that you had lost your sponsorship, are you in a position to tell us a bit more about how that happened? Because we do hear these horror stories of persons getting committed funds, whether support from the government or elsewhere, and then they're forced a lot of times along the program to drop out for one other reason. And I think that people have to be aware that these are the realities that people face, and especially the kind of effects or impacts that it has on the student, that hopeful student, thinking, you know, I'm going to go through my program all the way, no hiccups and so forth. The biggest challenge would be passing exams, but here you have another hurdle to overcome. So if you can share with us a bit more about that.
Sure. Initially, when I started the program, I thought passing exams would have been the main hurdle to get over until I started. And I mean, like, you meet people from different parts of the world and you just never know what they have. So, like, you know, I'm coming from the small Caribbean island. I want to prove myself. And surprisingly, I was top of my class, literally. And then, you know, this horror story came, you know, I lose my sponsorship due to financial issues on their end. Wasn't anything concerning me. And from there, it's like mentally everything was off the balance. And, you know, I had to pull myself together because of my performance, you know, and performing well, they allowed me to finish the semester because I had to explain to the school what had happened and so forth. So, you know, they bared with me, and thank God for that as well too. So I know my mind really wasn't at the right place. You know, going through that is like, because, you know, you're here, you know, being a first generation medical student, you know, it meant so much, not just for me, but my entire family. And then, you know, you had to go through this, and I'm like, you know what, Lord, we have to do this. I will get through this. I completed semester, thank God. And I've been home this semester, but, you know, we're working towards getting back in July. That's the main aim right now.
And trust and believe you will get back into the program in July, because, you know, the mere fact that you're coming out here, you're asking for help. And it's not just that, you know, people who come out and you have your hands open, so as they say, but you are offering something that people can come out, have fun, and put their money toward a good cause. Now, how long again do you have for the program? Let's say once you start back July, next month, that is, how long again would it be until you've completed your program?
It would be 4 years. So the entire program is 4.5 years. So I practically would have done one semester, which was half. So I have 4 years again to go. 2 years when it comes to preclinicals, like theory part in school, and the other 2 years will be more or less moving to the US to do our clinicals.
Understood. And in terms of that figure, because there may be persons who are looking on, and who knows, you might get a call and a check, but people may want to know what that figure that you're going after, for you to be able to complete those next 4 years, what does that look like?
So roughly, I calculated the first 2.5 years for the preclinical. It came up to around 537,000 TT. So medical school is very costly. And so, because I got a partial scholarship from the school as well too. So thank God for that. So because of that scholarship, it came up to 537. And if I were to add the other 2 years, that's probably another $500,000 as well. So roughly $1 million to finish this entire program.
Sure. And just a question that people may want to ask as well. In terms of going to this school as opposed to, let's say, the University of the West Indies and pursuing medicine there, what are some of the benefits of going to the school that you have chosen to versus the University of the West Indies, or elsewhere where it's offered?
When it comes to AUA, well, American University of Antigua, they offer, which is a straight MD program, which is a Doctor of Medicine, more or less like a master's level. Whereas at UWE, it's more or less a bachelor's. So you do like an MBBS program. So I practically would have done a bachelor's in biomedical, which is kind of like a little step more advanced to go into UWE, because most persons, they go straight from secondary school. They probably would have done like the N1 program, I believe, and then they transfer into the MBBS program. So I would have done an entire degree. So going to the MBBS, you know, that's like additional 5 to 7 years. And then to do an MD, which is additional 4 years. So it's going to take a lot more time. And another benefit with with Antigua is that, you know, you get license where you can practice in the US, so you could get, you know, more advanced training and so forth. And my aim is to come back to Trinidad, you know, to give that care and attention to home, because, you know, I would have gotten the support from the government back at home, you know, through GATE and so forth. And I'm very grateful for that. And my initial aim is to work at home. But I would love to get that experience out there. You know, as I said, I'm a first generation medical student. You know, none of my family haven't really went out of Trinidad to study and so forth. So I was really grateful, you know, for the opportunity that I could have left Trinidad, you know, started something new for my family, you know, something that they can pattern after. So it's not just to benefit me, but it's to benefit everyone that's coming up after me as well too.
Understood. And you know, I can actually relate to some of the things that you're dealing with there, because I started law school at the University of the West Indies back in 2019. And at that point, of course, I would have been fortunate enough to benefit from GATE, because I did a bachelor's degree, a postgrad diploma, and even a master's. And I would have gotten funding up to even the master's, half of that tuition coming from the government, and the other having to put that out of pocket. But then I decided that I wanted to do law, especially with considering politics, considering assisting with drafting legislation and so forth. And I realized, you know, that really was a passion of mine. And it aligned with the programs that I had done before. So I made the decision to start, knowing fully well that I was not going to get GATE, but I would have to fund this out of pocket. And the sad reality is that for me and many other students, or many other prospective students, funding is a challenge. And the opportunities in this country seem to be drying up on an almost daily basis. So I've been looking for a stable job to fund my education, and that in itself has been challenging, having to take a leave of absence for multiple years to try to get your footing to do the program. And not a lot of people understand that these are some of the challenges that we who decide to pursue education have to grapple with, because we've been told by our parents and our grandparents that you have to go to school, get an education, and you will get a good job. Well, many of us are still waiting on that last part, to get a good job. And so you have no choice but to return to education, to try to get more qualifications, so that even more your chances would improve of getting that job opportunity. And then we think of, you know, GATE is hemorrhaging money, this, that, and the other. But our system is not really as student-centered as one would think, because you have students who come into the tertiary education system, they are unprepared, because the secondary school system does not adequately prepare you for university life, and we have to be honest about that. So when you get to university and you're trying to figure your things out, it's difficult to get your footing, and there is this mad rush for you to decide on these courses and these programs, and it might be overwhelming. You have to have not just tuition in some cases, but accommodation and so on, and students tend to burn out really quickly. It's not a discussion that we're having nationally as we should, but this is the reality. And it's so sad to watch that students such as yourself, who may be dependent on others or other institutions to help get to that point of being educated, and then falling victim to just the economy, falling victim to a lack of opportunities that affect or impact on you by drying up your funding. So I definitely can relate, and I think that these stories are so very important for us to share, so that the population at large and even policymakers are firmly aware of some of these challenges. But one of the things that I'm grateful to see is that you have hope. And let's jump into more about this fundraising activity, because as I said, the whole idea of a fun day, the High Five Fun Day, which is expected to take place at the Edinburgh 500 grounds in Shogunas on the 19th. So that is next week, Monday. Tell us a bit more of some of the activities that persons who come out in their numbers can expect.
Sure. So at this fun day, you know, we're trying to get things that everyone can enjoy. So some of the activities we're going to have there, we're going to have carnival games. A lot of people, you know, when I mentioned it, they were kind of unsure of what it entails. So it entails stuff like, you know, ring toss, hoop shoot, beanbag toss, lucky dip, duck hunt, and so forth. So many fun things. And then besides that, we have the fire service crew coming out. We're going to do sports games, more like obstacle races and so forth. Besides that, we also have our VR games, which is the virtual reality games. We have the champion ride. We have the mountain branch coming with the horses, so persons can also ride the horses. We have nurses going to be there can have health checkups. We also have a one-day football tournament as well too. We're trying to aim at 10 teams, right? It's more like a five-a-side one-day football tournament. So if you have a football crew and you want to come out to the savannah and register and be a part of this tournament, feel free. Besides that, for kids, we have bouncy castle, we have face painting and so forth. And also kids could participate in all the other games as well too. Yes. And then besides that, we will have food and drinks on sale, cotton candy, popcorn, snow cone. So we're getting towards the whole $5 theme, more or less.
For me, this sounds very exciting.
Yes.
And it's a holiday, so people who have let's say they're not going to join the Labor Day parade or anything, they intend to be at home relaxing. This is an opportunity to come out, and it's in Sagona, so that's centrally located. If you're from south, like I am, or if you're from up the highway, as we see, it's a good central point to come out. There will not be any traffic on that day. But one of the things people might be wondering, do you have to register or anything prior to the day to participate, or is that just for the football tournament?
So it's just for the football tournament, but you can come on the day and still register your team, because we're trying to start the tournament at 10 a.m. But when it comes to persons participating, you don't have to register. You can come down to the savannah, because it's more or less going to be like a chit system. So you go to the chit stand, more or less. You purchase your chits. It's $5 per chit, and any game you want to participate in, there will be persons at the different booths, and you just pay a chit and you can participate freely.
And how has the coordination of this been thus far? Because I would imagine that this by itself has been a feat, but clearly you've gotten to the point where it's all pulled together and it's ready to go. How has that coordination been thus far?
I have the support of my family. Thank God for that. And even friends and so forth. So everyone, they're coming together and they're helping. So it's my first time, hosting something like this. So, I've been a bit inexperienced, but it has been a good experience. So thank God for that.
Excellent. And these things build character. It opens the eyes to a lot of what is going on out there in terms of it's not easy to pull together an event, and I'm sure that you're learning that. But with the right support and the best vision going out there and sticking to that strategy, I mean, you would definitely be successful. Is this something that we can look forward to from you and your family moving forward, or do you see this as a one-time event?
I would like to have something moving forward. So I'm more or less looking at the day to see how everything turns out, praying to God that everything turns out successful, because, we're targeting, a huge number of people to come out and support. Yes. So I had persons, who would have asked similar questions if there's something we're going to look forward to in the future. So I'm hoping, I'm looking for the best.
Nice. And I see there on the flyer, we have some contact information. Tell us a bit more about persons who want to get in contact with you, how they can do that. If there are persons who want to make a contribution to this effort, they might not be able to attend the fundraiser, but they still want to support you in terms of following your dream to become a medical doctor and to give back to Trinidad and Tobago, of course. How can they get in contact?
So you can contact me, which is at 474-3061. You can reach me through WhatsApp, or you can just call, or you can call 706-4551. That's my aunt number, Lisa. She is working hand in hand with me, so you can definitely reach out to her as well too.
Excellent.
For any information.
Well, Anna, I definitely wish you the best of luck. I do hope that this activity pulls off and is a success, and all the activities thereafter that you may come up with would be a success, because we really do need to support the young people of this country, because this is the next generation, and it might be much more difficult, surprisingly, than previous generations in terms of the things that we aspire to and actually getting those things underway. So with that, of course, the best of luck, and I do hope to hear, whether it's in 4 years' time, that you have been successful in completing that program. And thanks so much for joining us this morning to share with us.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.